the Indians are noted for supposedly putting their ear to the ground and listening for buffaloes or horses or cattle coming or something like this. So this cowboy comes across this Indian with his ear to the ground. And the Indian says, wagon, man, woman, boy, girl, 2 dogs and a cat. The guy said, how can you be so accurate? He said, ran over me a half hour ago.
Yeah, we used to, every summer, we'd take the 4th of July weekend and spend 10 days camping.
10?
Yeah, well, with the 2 weekends, we got 10 days. And the most fun was wilderness camping, in which case we had no water, no restroom, nothing but the trees and the lake for fishing, and what food we brought up, we cooked on a campfire. And the kids sometimes go back to where we were those many years ago.
There was a big island in the river. It was a Little Manistee River, big island. I mean, big island it was. And you could go way up to the top and just run as far as you could, as fast as you could, and you get down and then you just dive into the water. So they had a blast. And so one year we happened to go over there and camp. And Christopher and his ingenuity, I think he got that from his mother, really from me, but a raccoon and some of her small babies came in because we were just finishing supper, and there was a couple of fish heads that we hadn't taken out and discarded yet. And he got the bright idea, so he tied a string onto the fish head, and as the possum would come up closer, he would pull it so he would get it got it up to about 6-8 feet.
Well, that was a raccoon, not a possum.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
It was a raccoon.
And there was a whole family.
Did you get a picture of my dog?
Huh?
Did you get a picture of my dog and me?
I did, but I'd like to get another one.
Nitroglycerin!
Nitro.
Nitro, sit. Sit. Good girl. Down. How about down? Down. Good girl. You're a good girl.
Like a nitro?
Sit. Good girl. Can you smile? No, I'm doing pretty good just as it is. When his brother would work for me in the summertime, we had a van, and I'd go down and service. We'd go somewhere downtown or park the thing, and I would just lock the truck, and I'd throw the keys over the truck, and Terry was there to catch them. And this was standard procedure. Lock the thing, threw the keys over, he picked them up. One day Terry wasn't there. I locked the keys and threw the keys over the truck and went over on the other side and picked them up. Terry hadn't been with me that day, and it didn't dawn on me. I just locked the truck and flipped the keys over the thing. So anyway, that was one of our standing jokes. It was true. We had a 68 Wildcat convertible back in 88 probably. It wasn't.
I can't remember.
But anyway, blue, white interior, and I just put new tires and wheels on it. Chris wanted to borrow the car for going to the football game, and I said, oh, Chris, I said, all right, on one condition, you park it somewhere where it's light. You could not have found a darker spot. It was over across from Jackson High School, and there's a church, and at that time they had a parking area in the back, and there wasn't a light within 3 blocks. And that's where he parked it. And that's where he found it, sitting on all 4 brake drums. They'd come out and stole all 4 tires and the rims, wheels, everything. You think a low slung car is low wait till you see it, and especially if it's yours, sitting on the thing. Same car, different year probably. We're leaving the next day. I don't know. And Chris and a friend of his had a couple dates, and they were going to the outdoor movie, and that's when they had these huge speakers that you would hang on the thing. So they would put the top up, then they would put the top down, then they would put the top up. Excuse me. And Chris is going to get some popcorn or whatever, and they had, when they put the top down, they had put the speakers in the back well. And then when they put it down, was it up? When it was up, they put the speakers in the back. When they put it down, it could only go so far until it broke the window out of the back window. And because it was powered. Next morning, we're leaving. It's rainy, it's cold, and there's no back window, and they're all three sitting in the back window, just going.
We had our daughter working with us when she was going to school, and she was going to IUSB in accounting and etc. And she
specialized in etc.
She got like 3 or 4 different degrees because she took a long time since she insisted on working at the same time she was going to school. And so she ended up graduating from IUSB, and now she's a corporate tax accountant and an accountant, and does a good job. First got married, we rented an apartment for a year, and then we rented some different apartments, I suppose you could call them, and had the 3 children. And then in 1957, I think it was, the year Connie was a year old, so it'd be 1958, we moved into our first home. And that was quite a step for us at that time. Bob was working and I was taking care of the kids. Well, anyway, when he decided to go into his own business with 1962, which was 50 years ago, we had the house with a mortgage and about $75 in the bank. Yeah. And I'm scared to death. And of course the kids don't realize what an important move that was for us, but it worked. We got along fine. I answered the phone, and
I think that's on the other film.
Is it?
I think we told. Didn't we mention that? I think we were mentioning that.
Just very briefly.
Oh, briefly.
Very briefly.
Anyway, I answered the phone and took service calls, and Bob would go out and do the service call. And then in 1972, Myers and Wynn, Mr. Wynn decided he wasn't going to be in business anymore, and so we bought the appliance half of the store. There was a TV half and an appliance half. And Bob and I went there every day, and I did the same, did the bookkeeping and took service calls, and he did the service, and I tried to sell. And that was a real shocker. Somebody wanted to look at a refrigerator, and I opened the door, and there it is. And I didn't know what to say till I went to a week-long sales clinic put on by Whirlpool, in which I learned what you tell a customer about each of the appliances. And that was a huge help to me. And then we went to some sales seminars that were overnight, put on by Whirlpool, which helped as far as running the business meant, since we'd been in service and not in sales before. So that went on, and then Chris came to work for us, and then we got a technician or two. And in 1982, we bought the store at 1614 South Main. And at that time, we had a lot more space to put appliances, and Bob really went into advertising at that point. I expect it was because it had his name on it, Bob Miller, instead of Bob Miller's Myers and Wynn.
Bob Miller Appliances.
2700 South Main, South Bend. If it washes, dries, cooks, cleans, or cools, and you can sleep on it, we got you covered. If it washes, dries, cooks, cleans, or cools, and you can sleep on it, we got it. That any good?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Again, I think the feel and emotion, that was perfect. Keep the volume level up on
Okay.
50 years. So, again,
Hi, I'm Bob Miller. Thanks for 50 years.
I love that because it was very sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very sincere. Just a little bit, because when you tilt your head up like that,
Okay.
then you get reflection in your glasses. Okay, deliver that again, please.
Hi, I'm Bob Miller. After 50 years, you should know the address by now. 2700 South Main, South Bend. After some training of a couple, 3 years, I started out as a service technician. And as I worked for one appliance company, 3 or 4 years, worked for another one for 3 or 4 years. BettyJo would run the sales floor, and I would run service. And then at the end of the day, I would be, or whenever it was scheduled, I would make the deliveries by myself, one man. Many of them went downstairs all by myself. And then we became, busier, and I needed more help. So we ended up with, I think, 3 or 4 employees at the time. And about that time, my son Chris came to work for us, went to service school, became a technician, just kind of blended in with the business. And after, I'm going to guess, around 20-some years or something like that, he became much more involved with the business. We stayed at that one location in Roseland for 10 years. Told my wife one time after we made the decision, there's no going back, it'll be changed forever. We purchased a store on 1614 South Main and moved in there. We were there for about 20 years, I think. Time flies. About 20 years. And ended up with about 15, 18 employees. And outgrew that. And then this present location of 2700 South Main, South Bend, became available. And I think we're around 27 employees now. And probably the nicest showroom that anybody ever wants to see, even anywhere, especially in the area. 2700 South Main, South Bend.